Great opening, man. Great opening.
We can cut that out.
I like trees.
Hey, real quick, just wanted to say that we say we and us a lot in this podcast, but technically Sudd and I aren't part of SYLVICS. We're just friends. We're trying to help out, of course, and share our opinions, share our thoughts. Just thought we'd clear that up. That's it. Enjoy the podcast.
Yeah, okay. Well, welcome to SYLVICS Podcast. This is Jacob Bolton. I am the founder of SYLVICS, and I'm here with my two friends, John and Sudd. And we are kicking it in the cultivation lab. We are here in Peoria, Illinois, and tonight we are talking about our journey together.
Yeah. And we are trying not to tap on the table.
Yes.
Yeah. So, we're going to go through...
Yeah, so
how we all met.
Yeah, so I started SYLVICS solo as a solo entrepreneur, just doing my thing. Did that for quite a while and realized that the dream can only be fulfilled with a group of dedicated, like-minded folks who have a common purpose.
What does a little while look like for you?
So 2020, December 2020, January 2021 is when I started SYLVICS.
Wow. So right in the midst of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. I was here in my basement, probably quarantining while I was having this idea, actually.
Yeah, and maybe we won't talk about it too much, but that had been, germinating for a long, long time.
Yeah, yep.
Years.
Yeah, because I started being interested in specifically SYLVICS my sophomore year.
The study of silviculture.
Yeah, the study of SYLVICS, which is the basis of silviculture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because SYLVICS is the study of the general life aspects of trees and their history as well as their ecology. And so that's the basis of silviculture, which is the management of trees for people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Cool. Yeah, Sylv is like Sylvan or Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is Penn's Woods. The person's name was Penn.
Had no idea.
Oh, interesting.
I forgot to record here. Whoops.
Okay.
But we're just testing that out.
Yep.
So, you came up with the idea.
Yeah.
And you realized you needed a collection of people to work on this thing.
When exactly was that realization?
That was right away. I knew it right away. I just knew I needed to early on take my... I had to build it myself because I had to make it reality, and I also felt like I needed some sort of ownership in a way of the idea, so it wasn't just... I needed to build my philosophies into the idea. I didn't want someone to kind of derail my thing. You know what I mean? I've had that happen with other ideas before. Yeah. So I was just I need to set this foundation up because that is what I want to move forward on.
Mm-hmm.
And so we didn't destruct what I did. We added on to what I did.
And that's what we're trying to get to, with this podcast, is trying to tell that whole story of how we've come to where we are now.
Yeah.
Making the decision to make a podcast, talking to each other about this journey and talking about all this stuff. Yeah. Yep. So you effectively decided, I need to have a business, a collection of people working towards a common goal.
Mm-hmm.
How did it progress from there? Who were the first people or first skills that you needed to find?
First thing in my head, no joke, was a video editor.
Okay.
A video maker.
Nice.
A film person.
Okay. Was I know where this is going.
Yeah, right, right off the bat. And so I'd been dreaming about that for a long time. When I was working with my friend Grant, I was like, man, I wish we just were working with a guy who knew how to do videos. That'd be so sick. Mm-hmm. And he would just film everything we're doing because we're dope. And so, I reached out to you because I just was telling my friends, I just opened my mouth. I was just like, I want to work with someone who knows how to do videos really well because I want to make a video series. I have the idea, I have the capability of gaining the knowledge that would make that video series because of my studies. And so I was just like, man, I could grow in this video series. I could grow in making videos about trees. And I really want to just practice that and go travel and, initiate this whole. I mean, how can I speak to the most amount of people was really my dream. And I was just like, dude, okay, well, I'm going to work with people in context. So my big goal moving into working with people was to create a space for individuals to practice the skills that they wanted to practice the most, which would allow, I think, the most passionate outcomes as well as the most successful and impactful outcomes.
Yeah. And that's an interesting thing. Like, I guess we don't have to go like deeply into this right now, but that poses a challenge of you're trying to reach as many people as possible, but that is also for the sake of individual one-on-one or group experiences, basically leading to depth and long-lasting, emotions and feelings and
A lot of the times, I think that's how a team forms, a strong team forms, because everyone comes together through a common bond, which is values, and then find a way to express their strengths the best. And if they're not able to do that, utilize their strengths and balance it out effectively, then that's when you see teams fail a lot. Because you just have one person just hanging out doing nothing and one person taking up all the workload or something like that. Then you create that imbalance. So how did you know, Jacob, that you could have hired any videographer or whoever, just gone off the internet to Fiverr and like message someone.
Yeah.
What made you think I need to find someone in my group or like John or whoever? Sorry,
I think I know the answer, and it's an underwhelming answer.
Oh,
almost, but maybe
my answer is actually kind of layered, because I wanted to find someone who was going to be down. You know what I mean? And that
like aligns with what you're doing.
Not just a guy that makes videos. I wanted someone who was like down,
willing to be a core part of the team. Basically.
Yeah. Like eventually just commits. You know what I mean? And John, as soon as I met him, was like talking about life things that I think about, and I just reached out to him. I waited a couple weeks because I messaged him on Facebook.
Yeah, and I don't use Facebook.
so that was a month. It was like a month.
It was like a month.
I was just like, hey, I'm just trying to make some videos. Like, do you want to collab? And he was just like,
silence.
Oh, silence. And then he said, yeah, I'd love to. And then signs off. And then I sent him. I eventually sent him a message again, waiting a while, and then
like another week before I happened to log on, I was like, oh, I wonder if he ever messaged me or
Yep. And then when he reached out to me, which Pat plugged me with you, because he was like, dude, reach out to
friend.
John. Yeah. So Pat Smith, shout outs
for real.
And I found out that John was like super interested in not just videography, but also like mental health and social media. And that was like something that really helped me, because I didn't want to just meet someone either who's just like all about like, just like marketing, just like, just like your business is only supposed to be this way. And like someone who had a rigid thought structure, I needed malleability, because SYLVICS is just, it's supposed to be that way.
You're trying to mold my mind. No. But I know what you mean. Like more of like, I don't know, looking at it as a unique thing. Looking at it, or at least in a maybe not unique way, but in a different way than it's just business, and it's just like numbers in a way.
Yeah, because I wanted someone who could really tell a story and like wouldn't just imprint their perspective into the story. I needed someone who's like really open to telling the truth of what's going on. You know what I mean?
Which inevitably, or at least, and where I think I'm at, is at least recognizing that I'm imprinting my perceptions and my thoughts, my opinions into what I'm creating. You know what I mean?
Very important. Very cool.
That awareness, I think, is like, as far as I've gotten and as far as pretty much anyone can get to. You know, how do you become unbiased?
Yeah.
You know, like not in the sense, not in like a social sense, but just we each have our perspective. We are a single person viewing the world, you know, let's say physically from this one point, you know, and yeah, you kind of have to ground yourself in that and recognize that. Very cool stuff to explore in filmmaking, but yeah.
So shifting perspective a little bit, since you're talking about perspectives, what did it look like to you when Jacob first approached you for SYLVICS? Like, what did SYLVICS look like to you? Like,
I had no idea about SYLVICS. I just knew Jacob, like an old friend of my brother's and kind of friend of mine. We didn't really know each other, but we knew of each other.
John was around me.
Yeah,
I was
so
around
we were
John.
familiar, like to the point where
I slept in the same room as
you
you once.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like sleeping over with my brother, and like we're all just because I shared a room, just hanging out, and it's
you
like
slept with music on. I remember that very clearly.
weird.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? I had an old MP3 player that had like
You'd set it next
some
to you.
like old like box.
is it a boom box?
No, that might not have been.
It was like a laptop or something.
It was a mini DVD player that was in the shape of a laptop.
Oh, I know those, dude.
Yeah,
That's the
my
thing.
my godparents gave me that, and I used to watch movies on repeat for years.
Yeah, I remember that playing while I was sleeping. I was like,
That's funny.
Interesting. He's
Yeah.
listening to things. I know some.
I forgot that I did that so often. I mean, it was literally every night for like 3 or 4 years.
Whoa.
I would watch the same like 4 movies over and over again, and the behind the scenes to them, and that was it.
That's cool.
It was crazy. I don't know why I was just like so obsessive with those.
Love it.
I think I needed some grounding in like something that was consistent. You know, like at a personal level, like that's I think partially what that was, but also I just loved movies, and I loved those movies.
I was witnessing you as growing in the seed of your film interest.
Yeah, seriously.
I can relate to that though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
I used
grounding
to,
yourself, or
just doing something that you come back to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very comforting for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in a way, not only has watching, like, say, doing one thing over and over again, but honestly, filmmaking for me has been that. Like, it's great. I can just kind of, depending on the day, but I can get into this, like, flow in a way with it, and I just, I love it. It's so great. Can't wait to do it more.
So, so filmmaking, right? So that's how you found out about SYLVICS first, but...
Right, okay, we got a little sidetracked. So Jacob reached out to me on Facebook, and I think it was before I got my job.
Yes.
And at that point, it was when I was looking for a job, but I was also just like, man, because I took a gap year, decided to take a gap year before COVID. COVID hit, finished my last semester, and I ended up taking a 2-year gap year, you know.
Because of COVID.
Because of COVID, and unfortunately, things didn't happen. Like, I was going to direct a music video. It was going to be the biggest production I had ever done. It was going to be awesome. And then COVID hit, and then I flipped my Jeep, which was going to be one of the cars in, like, a massive chase scene during it, and just didn't have the resources anymore. Anyway, so a lot of stuff just didn't happen, and so I really wanted to take extra time. I was at the end of that, and I was looking for jobs, but I was also just really hoping to make videos, to just do things. And so I saw that, and I was like, you know what? Like, I don't know what he's trying to do. I don't know. You know, I was not necessarily skeptical, but I was like, okay, like what is he even trying to do?
Nature guy, right?
Yeah. But I was like, heck yeah, I'm gonna have a good attitude about this, and I'm gonna see what he wants to do. Like, that's awesome. He's asking me to like help him with my video skills. Like, that's awesome. I felt really good about that.
Cool.
So I hit you back up, and eventually after like 2 months, we ended up hanging out, and I was like, I don't know, we just started talking. Like, it wasn't like videos. We just caught up,
Yeah.
And we started to just you and I, who we are, we started talking about all sorts of different philosophies, psychology, everything that we're interested in, everything that we think about, and just hit it off. And it's like, oh shit, this is cool.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
we just had a great conversation, and like
Stimulating.
you, yeah, exactly, and like you, I don't feel very great about doing anything with anybody unless I align with them at like a really deeper level. So the first few times that we hung out really was just us figuring out who each other was.
Yeah, I didn't know you were.
Yeah.
I was still trying to catch your vibe.
Yeah.
Just building that trust and foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
When was this? What was the
This
time?
was like June
June
when we
21?
22. When you and I, this was last June. Like this past June.
Oh, so it wasn't that
Not
long
long.
ago.
Really?
Pretty sure that's when it was.
I started building my bike before
Mhm.
I met you.
Yeah, dude. I don't. It might have been May.
I thought it was March, April, May. Sometime
Oh,
like that.
wait, you're
Might have
right.
been
Okay.
January.
I
Yeah,
thought it was
I'm
January,
sorry. You know
December
what?
of 21.
Yeah, not 21.
It was like August of 21. Because we had known each other for a few months before I started building my bike.
Oh, wow. I have those timelines
I
totally
think
wrong
so.
in my
I
head.
think I could be wrong
Yeah.
too. I think this is my
Yeah.
brain's thoughts.
Yeah, I got you. Anyway, whenever that happened, it happened, right? And I don't know, we just kind of like hit it off and started to align on a lot of stuff, and I wanted to be involved in this, in SYLVICS, in what you're talking about, in what you're passionate about, whether I was making videos or not, you know. And then, I don't know, it just started to roll with ideas more than videos, really. We tried starting to make
A couple of videos.
yeah, like the Earth Trees video for the sycamore tree.
Yeah, that was fun.
You were wearing that in it. I remember because
I was wearing a hat too.
really popped out.
Yeah. It was blasting.
Yeah. That, like, yeah, it's been a journey because we're both so, I don't know what we are, but we have trouble, like, really finishing specific projects like that because we're always thinking of new ideas.
The way I call myself,
We're always thinking of new stuff.
the way I call myself to like also like see how I am just in like a really positive light.
Yeah, I don't mean that
generalist.
in, yeah. I don't mean that in a really negative way because we were kind of like circumambulating the idea of what we
That's
were
what we
really
do.
doing.
Yeah, we kind of like go in and back in.
And-
I don't know.
and- I've learned in my life there's merit to finishing things, right? Especially when you have larger projects that you're working towards. Having smaller projects that you can finish and achieve with is so important for you to continue to be motivated and have different things to
Right.
interact with, right? So that it feeds your curiosity and creativity for your later projects or
Agreed.
the larger
Builds confidence.
projects. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And we're working on that.
Yeah.
And I mean, here we are recording a podcast,
Yep.
making a video
Yeah.
all together.
And I practiced
So-
I have like 100 or more posts on Instagram.
Yeah,
and other,
you
like,
were
Facebook.
really
I was
consistent
ripping for
with
a while. Yeah.
It's a matter of when it's a group effort, and when you and I are speaking about, when we're all talking about this, but back then, you know, like, we were just talking about all these concepts and trying to rethink how we make this stuff, how we're going to go about in not necessarily a social media strategy, but like an informational and communication strategy.
Yeah. There's also like how I wanted to
business
communicate it, and like your philosophy, like our philosophical conversations always helped us understand where we were going to take the videos.
Exactly.
Because
We
we had to align. Like, I'm not just gonna act like this. I want to act like this. You know. And John was like, I wouldn't feel comfortable filming like this. I would rather film like this, or like feel something that would underlie that.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, we have, over the course of the time that we've been working together, we've really taken so many philosophies and grounded them in what we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it. And that's been great.
It's pragmatic.
Yeah, exactly. And bringing kind of philosophy to a pragmatic level is so difficult.
That's forestry. That's the basis of forestry. I learned that in a lot of my courses.
Right.
Even in the philosophical stance, though,
Mm-hmm.
what part of SYLVICS do you think aligned with your values personally? I know, like, you talked about yours and Jacob's alignment, but, well, before you joined, or before you started, before you were officially a part of SYLVICS, or, like, part of the core group, SYLVICS was Jacob, right?
Yeah.
But then you approached it, and then I'm pretty sure at some point you realized that Jacob and SYLVICS are different.
Mm-hmm.
So what
we
part
actually
of,
had conversations about that.
What part of SYLVICS did you align with, do you think?
I don't have a lot of perspective on that, I don't think. And I don't think I have the right words for it, but I'd say it's, if this is the right word, I don't know, but it's like humanitarian effort in a way. Because before that, I saw things in a similar perspective of providing and sharing knowledge and sharing experiences at an individual level, and sharing knowledge that allows other people to share experiences at an individual level, at a mass scale, towards something better. And of course, like with that, for me, that was with psychology, with philosophy, with ideas, just in general, right? And in a way, you just kind of picked a point, trees, SYLVICS, and it was like, sweet, something practical, something specific that we can center our efforts around in a way. I think that's ultimately, like, in a general way, where we aligned, or where I aligned with that initially.
Very interesting. Cool.
So here we are trying to make videos, not really finishing videos, but we're coming up with so many different ideas and determining, okay, maybe we don't want to do it this way. Maybe we want to do it that way.
You're also showing me what you do. The first, like, I didn't even know what editing meant. I just, because, like, as soon as I see what you're doing, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
like,
editing
way more
so much more stuff.
Yeah. We could spend an hour on a second,
Yeah, and you do. Continually.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like,
it's crazy.
It's hard work. But yeah. Just going through that whole journey of us getting on the same page to an extent. We're still doing that, and we continue to do that like every other person in the world.
You've taught me how
continuing to try to get on the same page as each other.
You've taught me how the internet works too. A lot of the times, and like the phone, and really just how
I'm very opinionated about that, I'd say, but I do have, I think, some factual knowledge about just how the internet is being used nowadays.
Yeah, 50% of what I say is going to be forgotten, or it will be proven wrong. So you know what I mean. I've heard that quote for someone, I can't remember, but yeah, it may not be all entirely correct, but what you're pointing
my perspective,
your eyes on the ball. It's like, hey, there's a problem here. Or hey, we need to learn how to use this. Is what I'm saying. Like we need to learn how, like, it affects us, and also how we can process it.
Yeah, and you were so receptive of that. Like, I think one of my biggest interests in social media, and in like being a part of it in a way, like posting on it, maybe not really consciously. I have thought, like, what's going on here, and what is a better use of this, or different structure of it, or different function of it. Like, I really want to put my stuff out there. I really want to put myself out there in a way, but also, like, given the way social media is structured, like, just simply its business structure means that it's not going to serve the people using it. It might, but it must first serve, like,
the people using it
third
are
parties.
The product.
And
media, so.
Their attention, the time, the advertisements that are shown to them.
Attention economy.
Yeah. So in a way, like, they're half of the product.
Yeah, I am. Because I use social media. I mean,
right. We all are. Yeah. And so I kind of disagree with that, and I really want to navigate it and kind of study it and observe it.
Yeah.
So that's part of my weird interest in
Yeah, like that's
in
what
making
really
videos.
drew me in though, because
Yeah.
like I was like, we can make ethical videos. That means like John might want to explore that to certain
That's
degrees as we're making videos, which
ultimately-
makes me feel
yeah.
better about making videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and here we are philosophizing on ethical videos and all this stuff, and we're trying to make things work. And then, at the bike co-op, you see your friend.
Sudd.
What's
Exactly. That's exactly when that happens. And
That's right. You were building your bike when I first met you at the bike co-op,
yeah. I started in March.
or you were repairing your bike or something.
So I built my bike from like March, and then in midsummer I took off on my first journey to Southern Illinois and back. And then when I got back, Sudd was here, and I had just been on a journey to Southern Illinois. I saw Sudd on a busy day at the bike co-op. It was warm. We were in shorts and a t-shirt type thing,
I
and
do remember that.
And I remember Sudd talking to me. I remember like Mark talking to Sudd and asking Sudd his name and like introductions and all that stuff, and like Sudd introducing himself to people.
Mark.
And then I remember. And Mark is the leader.
Was the
leader of the
bike
co-op. Yeah. So it's Sudd. Sudd was like talking to me, asking questions, interested in my bike, just kind of chatting me up, and then he was walking away, and I saw that on the back of his bright yellow shirt it said LDP, and I was like, whoa, wait a second, I think I know what that means.
What does it mean?
Leadership Development Program, because there's the SIU, there's an SIU RSO called which is a registered student organization that is called the Leadership Development Program, the LDP. And so they did trail building programs with me in Southern Illinois at Touch of Nature when I was a environmental educator. Yeah, forester. So I was teaching them trail building, and they were always like really good at trail building and focused and listened to me when I said things, so they would do it properly and the trail would actually get built. And we would actually build like a section of trail, which was awesome. So anyway, that was like my first realization that we had a connection.
Yeah, that was awesome. I remember that, and then I remember me talking about how I've been wanting. I just like you talking about forests and LDP and stuff like that, and I was like, man, I'm trying to go on big hikes here, but I know the only big hike I know is a 7-mile hike across from Detweiler to
Wakanda.
Mm-hmm. Right?
Yep.
And
We gotta
see a lot of
that. We gotta connect Wakanda to Grandview sometime.
Yeah,
I really want to do that.
That'd be
Wakanda
awesome.
to Grandview.
We can do
all
it.
the way along.
We can
Peoria.
do it. Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah, it's easy. You just have to
Dave wants
find
to do
your
that
way.
too.
Yeah.
So maybe
Okay,
It's
let's all
doable.
get together.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
right.
you were
so
looking for hikes and stuff.
I was looking for hikes, and I was like talking to him about the different trees that could be on those hikes, you know. And then he's like, "Hey, I've been wanting to go on a hike around Peoria, like in general, and just video different like the greenery, the forests
remember
in
you
around
doing
Peoria, the different watershed areas and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that." And I was like, "Whoa, that sounds freaking cool!"
Yeah, 'cause
like
I-
I really want to see Peoria like on foot. I've never done that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that's how we first connected.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because I actually went. I think we weren't able to do the first time. I went on it. I wanted to do one by myself. I woke up in the morning and I went on a hike around Peoria, like all, from my house to Springdale Cemetery. I walked through Springdale Cemetery. It was early morning, like a high heat advisory day type deal. And I woke up super early. I was just inspired. I was like, if I can't go on a big adventure, why don't I just walk? Why don't I just go pack up my bag and walk around the forest of Peoria? So I mapped it out, and I went to the Springdale Cemetery. I walked all the way up Grandview Drive, and then I walked to Forest Park. Walked through Forest Park, and then I walked from Forest Park, to the Lakeview area, Lakeview Library, and then I walked back home when it got too hot.
How many miles would you say that was?
12.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12 miles. Yep. And I
Seems
packed
like
my
such
bag
a long way. It
with
seems like it
some
would
weight.
be more than 12 miles. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it was hot too, so
Yeah,
it was like
yeah.
very hot.
But 12
it was
miles
like
is
steaming hot. It was like I mean, I have the video, so we can show it sometime.
Yeah.
Maybe we can.
Yeah.
Here's the video.
Yeah, link in the description.
Actually, here's just a shot of me real quick, sweating and complaining about it. So,
I remember then us going on similar hike.
Yeah, so I wanted to plan another hike with you.
Yeah.
To go hiking around. I was like, Dad, dude, I'm gonna go on a hike, down to Rocky Glen and Farmington Road and through Lower Bradley Park, and I was like, dude, we can hike it and we can talk plants and talk a lot,
I know. I remember that. I was like, whoa, I really want to learn. I remember thinking, whoa, I really want to learn more about trees. That sounds such an interesting.
So you guys didn't know each other in school?
No.
Okay, I was under the impression.
I've seen him.
I think I was familiar with his face.
Okay.
So I saw him. I was like, I think this guy's familiar to me.
That's
I just
crazy.
couldn't pick it up, and then I saw his shirt, and I was like, oh, cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I never expected to meet because Mark was from Southern, SIU, Sudd's from SIU, I'm from SIU. We had just all this SIU crew going on in the co-op. So we went on a hike on that day, and it was super hot. Super duper hot. And it just ended up being hotter than we expected, and we had a rough time near the end, but we kind of got through it.
Yeah, through the hike, I remember talking a lot about trees. I remember talking about each other a lot. Just like you said, right, over weeks, that happened over hours because we were going through this really long ass hike. Right?
Yeah.
And it was 15 miles, if I remember correctly. It was close to 15 miles.
Big hike. Yeah,
it was
15
very, very big hike, and it was through Rocky Glen, so it had some elevation in it too.
It felt like higher 90s, low 100s.
Those are steep hills too. If you're going on those main hills,
and it was open too, and there's no shade in some areas.
Dang.
We were just basically trying to align, and I didn't even think we were gonna work together or anything. I was just
I was just telling Sudd my ideas, and Sudd was like, "Hey, you got some cool ideas." We went on a walk prior to that actually, and you said, you said, if you were to do something like that, I would invest in SYLVICS or something like that. That's what you said.
I remember you telling me about that. I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, I do remember saying that.
I just had a guy that just told me this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I said that to John.
I was like, if I can't invest money, I'll at least invest time.
Yeah.
And I think during that hike, we talked a lot about music and then just generally building a business.
Yeah, because we shared music. We shared a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I remember just talking about building a business, what a business would entail and stuff like that. And then I was like, if you ever want to just talk about it, hit me up. And then I remember after we came back from the treacherous hike, because it was like he said, towards the end it got really, really hot.
Yeah.
It was
close to 100. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. We were almost out of water. It was a serious situation.
Yeah. Thankfully Jacob's parents came and
scooped
us.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we were fine after that, but we got really close to some dangerous territory.
Yeah.
But,
heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
I was already heat exhausted.
I was heat exhausted too. We were both heat exhausted, so we were kind of reaching heat damage. You know what I mean? So
heat damage.
Yeah.
And then so that's after that is when I think we started talking more about SYLVICS specifically.
Yeah.
And then
because I started sharing it more, you started realizing what I do.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, wait. I was like, okay, so I understand what you do, but why do you do it? Was I think one of the main questions I asked, and that's how the whole freaking thing started.
Why?
Yeah,
which we'll get to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was like, so what is exactly the purpose of SYLVICS? Why does SYLVICS exist? Was one of the questions I asked when we were making music, I think.
Yeah.
And then we started putting sticky notes on the wall, which is still in my apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
OG sticky notes. We have those.
You still have those?
Here's the picture.
It's we started trying to figure out together why SYLVICS exists and trying to come up with a why statement for SYLVICS.
What's funny is in a way you and I kind of went through that, but you guys really did it. You guys made the sticky notes. You took me through sticky notes that you had.
You were talking to me at the same time about the same thing.
Yeah, at that time, your apartment that you lived in then, which was really cool. Big window looking out over the city. I'd never seen the city from that perspective. It was crazy.
So nice.
walls of sticky notes of just like
All
all your like structured thoughts and stuff in sticky notes all over the walls.
Yeah, I was doing design thinking of SYLVICS the entire time.
You had dry erase markers on the window like all over. It was really cool, honestly. I was like, wow, okay, he's really thinking all the time about this stuff. Obsessing,
Yeah. I just wake up thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Just wake up thinking about it every day. I'm just like, trees. My first breath awake, I'm just like, trees.
Trees. Trees. So, yeah, that's crazy. When, at what point was this? A little while before you introduced me to Sudd?
So I remember still that Andrew Paxton, one of my friends from SIU, came and visited.
Yes, that
who
was
was
the
also
hike.
in the LDP. Yeah, who was also in the LDP.
Yep.
He came and visited me, and he wanted to go on a walk. I'm like, yeah, dude, let me invite Jacob. I'm pretty sure you remember Jacob because he was also in the LDP. And then
I was not.
No, I know you are not in the LDP. I'm
Paxton was.
Paxton was. Andrew Paxton was, and then we were all talking, and then I was like, hey, do you guys want to go on a hike? And then he was like, I think John wants to join too.
Yeah, Jacob's like hitting me up. He's like, dude, get on, like, we're going on a hike. You want to come?
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know, probably at my apartment, just doing something, maybe working on something, I don't know. But I was just like, yes, this would be great.
Yeah.
No idea that, like, you just said it was some friends. And I was actually apprehensive to come because it's just like meeting new people and
the whole process. Yeah.
And what's so funny is like I didn't know. I think at that point you were kind of trying to pitch SYLVICS to. I guess this is what you guys are getting to.
I was pitching SYLVICS.
You were trying to pitch SYLVICS to Sudd. Like you and I. We were grounded at that point.
Yeah, we had talked about Earth's trees.
You and I
really worked through a couple of
like,
ideas. The E-Suite.
We were like working together pretty much.
Yeah.
We knew that there was some sort of commitment at that point. So then it turned into.
You said we at that point. You said we when we were talking about SYLVICS.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
You said we.
I remember when you identified that. You're like, you said we.
Yeah.
But I remember on that hike. Or like maybe before the hike, either through text, through phone, or in person, you said something about like, we're going to try to pitch SYLVICS. And like you said, we are going to try to pitch SYLVICS. And like it didn't quite register that like you were like, Sudd is interested. Like we're going to try to like get him on board or whatever, like, and I just thought it was somewhat casual, which it was. It really was. Like we all just were hanging out, and you were curious, and he wanted to.
I didn't feel like getting pitched to at all.
Yeah, exactly. And that day was hilarious because I just come. First off, we showed up at like the exact same time.
Oh yeah, it was
you guys were. Oh no, you guys were walking onto the trail.
Yeah.
And I pull in.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, how about we go this way? Right?
Didn't we go a different direction? You've been here before.
Yeah.
It was Robinson Park.
It was Robinson Park.
That was the first time I'd ever hiked in Robinson.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was towards Detweiler. The Robinson Park that goes towards Detweiler. So there's two sections of Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
One that comes from Wakanda to Robinson, and then Robinson to Detweiler. So we were trying to go towards Detweiler. Remember?
Yeah. And that parking lot on Mossville Road, there's a right turn that you can go on the trail, and that goes to an overlook.
Right.
And then on the left, you can take that, and it's a more direct, more established way to the trail that we were getting to. You can go to the overlook and down, but it's technically not a real marked trail. And I just thought it would be better going that way. I don't know. But I just remember literally right off the bat, you and I introduced ourselves to each other.
You guys were up ahead of me.
Literally, like, two new people, you and your friend, and you and I, and you and I just introduced ourselves to each other and just literally, just walked away from
like
you
from
two.
so clearly,
you and I are just.
I felt so bad.
I was just talking with Andrew. I was chilling with him. We were chatting it up.
That was so hilarious. Like literally just, hi, I'm John. Hi, I'm Sudd. blah 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 blah, philosophy stuff, blah blah. You know, like we just got
we were
to
talking
like
about shoes, and then the next minute we were talking about religion and
dude,
science.
just gotten your new shoes.
You asked me if my shoes were rock climbing shoes. They were those white shoes that I don't wear anymore.
Okay, yeah.
Because they just fell apart. But anyway, you asked me if they were rock climbing shoes, and I was like, no, they're zero shoes. You know, like my toes, blah blah blah. And then it turned into like philosophy and religion.
I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah,
we were like talking about the entire hike. We hiked
it was like
4
2
miles.
Yeah.
It was like
it was
2 hours.
a heat
that
advisory
just-
at that time too, man. We were having a hard out there as well, man. It was just hot this summer.
Andrew did have a hard time. I remember.
Yeah. I mean, I think
down.
we were. It was one of those things where like, because on the way back, halfway through on the way back, you and I were talking, just you and I. Kind of like we were all talking, but yeah, you and I were walking so fast, just in our thoughts, just like and we're like going up the hill, and then we're like, oh wait, like if we're tired and like we don't want to like mess with these dudes, and you know like
we're pushing them too hard,
pushing ourselves too hard because we were like, I always do this. I'm too talkative. On hikes, I'm like, and the thing, and like I just won't stop talking, even for my own like health, even like I will pass out before I stop talking, and
speeding bullet.
Yeah, that's what we were doing.
Okay, so we were out there, and you see a forester with you, and he's talking about trees.
Yeah, it was cool.
What does this look like? What is it about this that seems
right? So when I was talking,
seems awesome.
When I saw that, I first of all didn't know you were part of SYLVICS at all. Like I had no idea.
I really wasn't. I was a friend who was co-committed in a way, and like we knew that we were going to work together. Like we knew that I was going to help him make videos.
Especially
I have an alarm.
Yep. Sorry.
Keeps going off. Yeah, we knew we were going to make videos together, but it wasn't like I am committing or donating, what is the word, volunteering my time to SYLVICS. Like it wasn't that.
It was just dudes working on
established
videos. So we were kind of getting to that point, and John was talking about process mapping, and was like, dude, we're gonna process map all of SYLVICS.
Yeah,
and then I had a way of doing it with design thinking. John's like, we're gonna do process mapping, and then Sudd pops up, and then Sudd's like, we're gonna do it this way. So I was just like, I'm just gonna let it fly. Like let's go. We got a lot of different ideas coming in here, and then really.
I remember that. Yeah, so I remember that very clearly because after that hike, I remember I was like, man, SYLVICS is awesome.
We recorded ourselves talking about SYLVICS.
I probably do remember that.
You had shared a way of leadership. Like
towards the end of the hike, I remember John specifically talking about process mapping.
I really wanted to show you because I was like, ooh, he seems like he totally gets this stuff. I was excited to show you.
And I was like, dude, I think we're talking about the same thing pretty much because this goes back to Simon Sinek's golden circle of the why, how, what instead of what, how, why that usually people do. Yeah. And so when I saw SYLVICS, I saw two things, right? One that is pretty much what you said. Like instead of humanitarian, I saw it as something greater good for Earth.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what
I guess
wanted,
that's
that is something I've really wanted to contribute my time towards. I try to volunteer whenever I can because it helps the Earth.
Yes.
That's why even in LDP we did a lot of Earth-related projects.
We commended LDP.
Yeah, because that's where my passion. Like I found my passion towards helping Earth, and I saw SYLVICS, and that's one thing that struck me good about it. And second was like the passion that you had for SYLVICS and trees in general, and like building something that is earth oriented but still want to like make money made me feel good. I'm like, this is not like one of those nonprofits that I'm not trying to diss on nonprofits, but it's just like usually the growth of nonprofits are relatively slower.
It's based a lot on people giving money.
Right. And so I'm like, well, here we have a potential, a challenging project and a potential to build a product out of something that is usually attacked as a non-profit.
Yeah, that's it. Majority.
It's an interesting problem.
People have told me that like on social media. They've criticized me. They're like, you're not. This is not only going to be. This is only going to turn out to be a hobby for you. This should just be a non-profit, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, not really. I mean, they just don't understand yet quite yet.
For profit. I mean, look, I don't know what I'm saying that much, but like it allows for, like you're saying, scaling at a different rate. And if you're smart, scaling properly and not too fast in certain ways. Don't want that happening. Don't want to collapse, but it just allows for you to like you have to make economy effectively.
Exactly.
Make economy
That's
for it. And the whole thing about SYLVICS, there's so many whole things about SYLVICS, right? But one of them is we're making economy for ecology.
I love that, yeah.
And we're trying to siphon the world's resources, attention, and money towards the world and each individual and their home and their world, personally and globally,
Exactly. And I think, so our stakeholders, just because of that, is much wider. And it's almost like it's combined of what a for-profit organization or non-profit organization would generally have.
Because I saw
yeah,
it.
I know.
See it as
it's a weird position to be in.
I see it as a cooperative because and it's an innovation hub.
I was going to say the same
because I wanted to create a business, like just philosophically, I just wanted to create a business that had the potential to be accepted socially by the biggest group of people possible. And so I was like, why not explore like capitalism, which is a majority businesses are made in capitalistic mindsets. So I was like, okay, what capitalism and socialism, those are the two biggest ones that people argue and get in political conflict over and stuff. So I was like, what if I made a business that would reduce conflict from the get-go? Like anything that's done is like the least controversial thing. People will give the pass. They're going to be like, yes, like this is awesome. You're a tree guy, And so it's like capitalist cooperative, baby. Maybe some people won't like that it's capitalist. Some people won't like that it's social. But they can both agree that we're making some money and that we're driving the economy forward. Mm-hmm. So that's like what I envision it. I want it to be a worker-owned co-op. And it's for it to be an innovation hub where multiple groups come in and work together to create like a series of landscape level decisions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. And I saw that passion in that really struck a good chord with me. And I said, I didn't even think about, I just wanted to help Jacob realize why SYLVICS existed. That's why I really wanted to do it initially. Because I asked him really that question once.
Clarify.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, so I know why you created SYLVICS.
Here.
Yeah.
Just not here.
Here. But why did you really create SYLVICS? I really wanted to know that because without knowing that, I wouldn't know why I would want to work with SYLVICS.
Yeah, this is honestly probably one of the most exciting points of the whole business creation process was Sudd first becoming interested in saying that, and then eventually saying the word "we" as well, which was really exciting to me. I was like, dude, I have multiple people saying "we" about SYLVICS right now. This is changing my brain about how I even have a business, what's going on. And then I was walking with Sudd. We went on nightly walks and chats and would play chess and stuff and hang out because we started becoming friends. And so we were like, okay, let's. I was talking with him and I was just like, and I pitched to John too. I was like, John, I wanted to create a space for people to practice what they want to practice the most that would contribute to the overall, development of Earth and human society over the course of time. We want to try and work on something that would be, would enable the most people just to be who they are. And so Sudd I was like, Sudd, what type of skills do you want to practice the most? Right. What do you want to, if you were to bring something to the world, what would you do? And so Sudd dropped to me, especially education. He's really interested in education.
Yes, which we all aligned on pretty recently. And dude, I have even, we got to talk about it.
That's a whole other.
So we'll get into that. We'll get into that. So ultimately, then Sudd shared with me a lot more about leadership development and how that means to him, and then also helping people become the best version of themselves.
Yeah. And when I saw SYLVICS and I saw that potential, I'm like, this could actually be something. But we need to start at the foundations. And I started talking to you about the why. I remember like us thinking about like trying to even weight different parts of our whys.
Yeah.
Right? Like we came up with a general why before we even talked to John about the why. We just talked about a general idea of the why, and then we started weighting like different action items that would come from the why.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so this is what you want to achieve. This is why you exist. So this is how you're going to do it, and here's how we're going to weigh it. And we came up with like a scoring system and things like that, which is something we did later, which we'll talk about eventually. But we talked a little bit about that, and then you were like, wait, we need to talk to John about this. And then that's when him and I got together, and right here in the cultivation lab.
Yeah. Sudd's asking me, he's like, who's making this? Who's making SYLVICS? He's like, just
yes, I remember asking that question. Like, who was our team?
You know, I was just like, these are the people that I'm that people said we. I mean, so I was just like, we got Nate Cummings, who is my been working with me to like, well, he was just hanging out with me really, and I just started telling him about Peoria stormwater stuff, and like we would go down on the river and I would show him the stormwater stuff, and we would talk and play games and talk about SYLVICS, and he was just like encouraging me. He was really like the first person in Peoria that started encouraging me, like, and saying
he was
like,
directly encouraging.
Yeah, he was like, dude, you're doing an awesome thing. Like, keep at it. You know, I mean, I had other friends who had like encouraged me, but like he was like, dude, like, keep going. Like, make this happen. Like, you know what I mean? So,
good on him.
So I brought Nate, and I wanted to bring Nate, John, and Sudd together. And then I just wanted to clarify with Nate, and so Nate's like able to help to a degree with his skill set and like grant funding, and also business, and so he's able to spend a few hours here and there on that, and you're able to spend a few hours regularly, and Sudd's able to spend a little bit more than a few hours regularly. So we started I'm getting ahead of myself, but like that's kind of like how I started realizing, I don't have to
naturally fell into a core team. Basically.
Yeah.
Seeing this, like, I'm so glad that we're talking through this, because like just seeing this story and this
the
journey,
timeline,
it's just like, wait, no, we haven't been having these meetings the whole time. Like, we decided at one point, okay, we're doing meetings every Wednesday.
I remember that, dude. I remember that. So, like,
so
that
cool.
was a
like, I forgot
life-changing, or like not life-changing, but you get the point.
Wow, yes!
Business-changing moment, you know what I'm saying?
It is life-changing. I mean, we're living our lives, so.
Yeah. And, like, I don't know, I just feel like I've taken it for granted that we have these meetings. It has been going on for a while.
Yeah.
But before that, we were all just dudes like talking about it, trying to figure things out, and now we're talking about it and trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I want to make it clear too. Like I've been realizing picking up on this lately. It's like I really did change everything that I'm doing to collaborate with you guys and the way we're doing it. So it's like,
so we better be doing it right.
I mean, I started realizing like this is my all thing. Like you guys are
you're giving everything you have into it, basically.
For real.
Yep. And so it's like I'm like I value your guys' input so much that like my all is involved. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I remember the first time, like, here we were with the whiteboard. I wish you had the whiteboard with that exact word still.
There's pictures.
Oh, yeah. Which you can probably put in
pictures.
the video and make it, but, like...
Should I stop saying that just to not, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we'll put them up.
Yeah, that's the thing, because, like, I want to make it easy editing, so like, I don't want to say things that, like,
easy editing
require you to do something, you have to edit that out because you didn't want to do it.
Easy editing is no editing. You might just be flashing your hands to the screen and nothing happens. Just so you know. I don't know.
Completely good.
Yeah. Just being honest. If we want to show these things, we can.
Yeah.
I would love to.
It's like Joe Rogan, they post like a
Bloopers.
3-4 hour thing, and then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I remember, like, us writing... So the reason, that was the main reason why I asked who our core team is.
We were writing down our values. That's what you were saying.
Boom.
We were writing down our values.
Because we needed to figure out who
yes,
meant.
values was where it
Common
started.
values. I knew that. That's like a fundamental philosophy of mine. So I was like, when Sudd said that, I was like, yes, like exactly.
Yeah,
like that's the direction we're
You
going.
have to have values.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was like such a fundamental thing. Like to me, it came naturally because of like how many times I'd done it with LDP. But
Yeah.
like when I did it here, I'm like, whoa, these guys actually recognize the importance of it, which is fucking cool. First of all,
Right. And at a like philosophical level, not just like this is to get the business going. Like we were very interested in sharing our values with each other, getting to know each other, and like grounding ourselves and being like, we're all in this. Like
It
this
felt like
is
a
what
moment
we're
where we
doing,
were
right?
kind of like
It was
all
a serious
asynchronous,
moment,
and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden we became synchronized.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
was just like boom, like right
And
there.
Sudd fucking did that.
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
dude.
I think it
filmed
was
it too.
natural
Leadership.
movement for us.
I watched it again. And it was so.
It was,
so cool.
but you guided that. Honestly, you
It
gave us
was
the
because
methods.
it's just because I've done it so many times with LDP that
Yeah.
to me it came naturally, and I felt it was a natural route for us to go towards.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
of course.
And that is one of the main reasons I asked, who is we?
Dude, every time like Sudd pitches an idea about what we need to do, I'm just like, dude, look at his like he's an engineer. Like I'm just gonna let him do his thing because like he fucking gets shit done. Like
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so that is one thing that I
That's-
really like doing, like getting shit
Yeah.
done.
Yes,
It's like,
and like we needed that.
I needed to
Oh
get
my
stuff
God.
done for sure, bro.
Jacob and I like fucking needed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are very all over the place. Have a lot of ideas.
Yeah, because I mean, I can
but-
get stuff done over periods of time, but like when we're trying to get concise things done, that's where like school helped me in that way because school is a rigid structure,
And
and
that's
so
why I'm considering going back to school, just having that system and that structure.
yeah, and a lot of people go to
Huge.
school for that,
Yeah.
and so creating a structure was what I was wanting, and we both wanted to do that. We were both like in that direction. We had our own ways of going about it too, and it was just like bringing all of that together, and you just saying like, hey man, every step of the way we need to making decisions. So it like changed the game. So it's not like I'm sitting back making decisions for everyone. It's like Sudd's like created the space for everyone to make the decisions together, which was kind of interesting for me to think and deal with. It was like, oh, SYLVICS just isn't just mine. Like I know it's silly,
that
but like
perspective
really,
shift is such a huge perspective.
it was wild because it was just like, okay, now SYLVICS is a shared vision. That was like
is a crucial term.
Yeah.
because like growing trees to meet life's needs is the mission of SYLVICS in my mind, like to a fundamental degree. And you guys were like, let's break that down more.
Yes.
Let's make sure we understand it, and so that everything that we do is based on certain things. Because like growing trees to meet life's needs, I understand what that means. I get it. It's kind of catchy too.
Right.
But like, what are the words that make it explicit?
Exactly. So I remember when you said growing trees to meet life's needs, and then I was like, okay, where does videos come in? Because I first thought, okay, maybe it's just your mission is to reforest, but then it wasn't just reforesting, and then because there is a videographer, what does he do? So
wait.
and then
what?
I realized that okay, you want to educate people about reforestation and reforest, and then
that
it
is your
came,
method of reforestation. That's a whole method.
right. It's a
Yeah.
whole unique
Inspiration.
method.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
here we go.
I remember. I realized
Getting
that it was
to
inspiration.
yeah, getting to the mission statement.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I realized, wait, I went to his website and I saw like plants. He's selling plants. Wait, so you have a nursery too? Like, what is going on here? Like, what is SYLVICS? Like, what's going on? That's when we came up with our vision statement, all of us together, right here.
Yep.
After we figured our values out, we said, okay, let's write down our vision statement. And then, of course,
Yeah, and luckily I had a lot of people.
I was-
I had a lot of people criticizing me for being not clear as to what SYLVICS is, and so I was just like ready to make it clear. I was ready to do all that work. I had just gone to Southern Illinois and I had received criticisms from people that I value their perspective, and so it was like I need to listen to these things because
Yeah.
they've been looking out for me and they've been watching me develop. So I just want to figure what that means for myself. So it's like
Move through that whole process of just being like, oh, kind of hurt. Yeah. And that was the first step.
I was rolling with a motto a mission motto, and a picture of my logo. And that's what I was wrong with. That's what SYLVICS was. It was amorphous completely otherwise. It was just like, I was just doing stuff, and it enabled me.
And that's why we were like, yeah, videos, yeah. And like not really finishing anything or like making anything because it was just like, we're chasing this invisible rabbit, you know?
Yeah,
like trying to go down the rabbit hole.
We were trying to build videos into a non-existent thing.
Right. And then I knew that you guys wanted to make videos. I'm like, okay, so how do we get there, right? Like, how does it actually tie into what we want to achieve? So a vision statement was there, and then I think we sat down together and decided what are action items related to our vision. Like, how are we going to achieve our vision, right? So we have our why, and how are we going to do our
Can we go a little bit
goal?
more into our values, like just kind of what we put down? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously,
Like our values,
everything,
our values specifically, the ones that we chose, like
It was impact. I think
Impact.
forest stewardship,
community heritage,
Yep.
adaptive,
context.
Adaptivity,
context, and there's
contextual.
There's a sixth. Oh man! So it's adaptive, forest stewardship.
We're not on it.
We've done this before. Adaptive forest
You
stewardship.
can edit this out. Like, just go.
No, it's no worries. We're working through it. Still learning. That's this goal.
No, I'm saying like you can directly edit to the part when we say all 6.
No. This process is hilarious.
This is gold.
Like,
Yeah. Context.
This is our business. Wait.
What is our business?
What is our business?
Wait, here. Context, forest stewardship, community heritage, adaptive,
Impact.
inspiration.
Boom.
Inspiration.
So,
Right.
God, I can't believe you missed that, dude. Oh shit. But yeah, so
anyway.
those came from our personal values,
Yes,
right?
we all wrote down our own personal values.
Yeah.
And
Mine was
discussed how they overlap, and yeah.
And if you, so what's our vision?
so our vision specifically. It took us a while to get here. We had written down
So long.
many
Took
sentences.
so long.
Like 4
Years.
weeks, 5 weeks.
Weeks. Easily
Yeah.
weeks.
Yes.
It was like Sudd was like, man, we just gotta keep moving forward. It was just like we gotta keep coming back to this why,
we
baby.
were trudging through it.
Man,
And
it was a pain in the ass in a way. Honestly, it was like, what's going on here? You know, like, and then we realized like, oh, this is the most important thing that could possibly be done.
Yeah, if you don't know that, you can't move forward. Really, is what we
like
realized.
we thought it was a pain in the ass
Sudd-
because we weren't getting videos done. I wanted
Yeah.
to get videos done.
And you like organized us. You got us like, let's keep working on this. Let's keep working on this. Let's keep working on this. And this is when we were like, we gotta do weekly meetings. We have to meet weekly and discuss this stuff and work on whatever we may work on. Have agendas, really get stuff done. And we all started coming together doing that. And yeah, for about 5 weeks we were working on this mission statement.
It took us a while to get to it.
Yeah,
Yes.
once I realized.
And so many revisions.
It took me a while too,
because
like
too.
for a little while I thought it was just gonna kind of like pop in front of our faces, and then I started realizing like, man, I really need to get my input. I need to give my real honest input into this because this is the most important thing I can give my input to. I was like, dude, this is like I need to focus. So I sat down and I kind of took the what we'd written and wrote it in myself. I just did it myself in my book and sent it to you guys. I was like, this is what I think the mission is. And
Yeah. And I remember seeing that. I'm like, I don't want to, like, per se, plug in my own ideas into this, right? Like, I want SYLVICS a certain way to be. Like, I know this is a shared vision, right? But I don't want to change the original intent of Jacobs for starting SYLVICS. I was very, very particular about that because that was super critical to me. Because I don't want to be the guy who just comes and completely changes the foundation of why SYLVICS started. You know?
yeah, when we had that
All I
conversation,
wanted to do was try to
Man,
understand.
When we made that explicit,
that changed
that
everything.
we should talk about that collection of meetings where we were aligned but not totally on making videos and on like you started to talk about that process. Remember we were like sitting and we were like, let's just talk about like how we all see this, like how we're all feeling about this and where we see it going, because we were just kind of having trouble aligning. Yeah, we were getting confused. We were getting worried. Let's talk about that at some point. Like soon.
But so I was saying something like, the videos, or not the videos, but the overall vision statement, right? I remember wanting to not make sure not change the original intent of the organization. So all I wanted to do was understand why SYLVICS exists, see how each one of us connected to SYLVICS, find our common values, get action items from why we existed. That's what I wanted to do. And then when you gave us the final vision statement from what we had been working for 5 weeks, it was awesome. It just fell right into place. If you want to say that for the podcast,
awesome. So it's SYLVICS exists. Oh, so I got this off of a like blah blah exists to.
It was kind of a template.
It was a template. It was a template from Simon Sinek and his group.
Yep.
It was like the to do so that. To do so that.
Right. Okay.
So SYLVICS exists to inspire and empower people to steward Earth's forests so that we grow trees adaptively and create holistic ecological impact in the longest term.
That was a powerful statement. When we all heard that, I think it clicked.
Yeah, remember that one meeting where you guys had it like pretty much together, and I was just like, why don't we reword this and blah blah blah, and it turned into like 3 hours of us completely dissecting it and like totally tearing it apart. And then we
were like, I don't know where we left. Together. Yeah, we got it back together.
You guys were like so confident in it too.
We got it really close to
we thought we had it. We thought we had it a couple times.
You guys brought it to me like, let us know if we forgot a comma or different words. And then I'm just like, no,
I don't like this phrasing at all.
Yeah. But dude, we arrived at that.
Yeah, because I sat down.
That journey was important.
What I realized was like, okay, there's like Gifford Pinchot started Bernard Furneaux started the U.S. Forest Service, and Gifford Pinchot was the first chief forester. And so, like, these guys were the guys who sat down and did what we're doing now, is they sat down and broke down what the vision is of the Forest Service, and they literally showed, like, how, it was Gifford Pinchot changed that vision of the Forest Service to adapt it to the needs of society, and he, I watched that happen, and so I realized, like, I need to take action on, like, inputting my vision, because like my vision was completely informed by my schooling. So my schooling and my reading about these people, and I've primed myself to be someone who creates a vision. So like that's what I wanted. That was kind of like a fundamental reality of mine, and I was like, dang, this is a life event that's occurring in front of my eyes when we were sitting down writing our values down, and when I took those values and the smorgasbord of thoughts that we had, and then put it into a sentence or two. That was fire.
This is why I think you've landed in the position of being a leader. You have your vision.
It's absolutely critical.
You're moving in a direction. And if anybody's joining you, given their skills and ability to help to achieve that vision, great. And that's the business,
Yeah.
And I have felt the same way with me, like for films and different ideas, just a lot of different ideas, right? But you're realizing it, You're leading, you're moving forward with it.
That's exactly how I remember talking to Jacob about something like a bicycle analogy or like a car analogy of how SYLVICS worked, right? And like even now,
I've never heard this.
I still believe this is true, because I think Jacob's the engine of like a train, for instance, right? And you are the guy who dumps coal in to keep the engine running. And all I do is make sure that the train tracks are okay. That's all I'm doing.
Oh my god!
I'm giving the signal, right? Like, let's go.
That's so funny. Oh my god!
Okay, stop. If you go, you're gonna hit a bunch of
people. You're at that like intersection thing. You just.
All I do
he switches it to the next way.
All I do is make sure the tracks are laid correctly and switch so that we get to the destination we want. That's how I see it. If you look at it,
and all the tracks are also our backup plans and stuff like that. And you're there.
Yeah, I know the routes.
Yeah. It's like, another train's passing by. We gotta
failure planning, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole.
Which we need to get back to. I mean, we didn't go into much depth.
It's all right.
Anyway,
But yeah.
But yeah, priority came down to
Managing
we're
smaller.
making stuff.
Yeah,
Here
it took
we-
us a long time to figure out the vision, but once you figure it out, it became so powerful, right? Now it's going to go on our website. Like, that's how
Yeah.
powerful it is, right? We are willing to advertise it to the world. And from there, it was a matter of figuring out, okay, so this is our vision. So what exactly do we want to do to achieve this vision? And that's when I remember us making that big mind map of like our products. I was like, okay,
Oh,
let's
yeah,
choose
that's
what our
huge.
products are. Let's choose what our products are and link it back to our vision statement. Why are we going to do... So break down the vision into our products,
Yeah.
and so that we can track it back anytime you
And
want.
Sudd realized we already had products and video ideas in mind.
It just
and
needed to be...
and so he was like, oh, we don't necessarily need to create the products. They're there. We just need to weight what they are to the vision.
Exactly.
That was cool. That was a cool switch.
I remember that very clearly. And we decided that we need to wait. And I think that was pretty recent is when we did it, right? And we came
was
up
a
with the products. We came up with action items before.
We proper did it this time.
This time we
this
actually
time
properly
proper
did
You're
it.
saying when we were at
Barnes and Noble
Barnes and
recently.
Noble. Yeah.
But before that, I remember...
Sudd buys this book at
Barnes and Noble because we didn't have a big enough,
Yeah.
open enough, non-lined notebook.
And then we literally write this.
Yeah.
We literally wrote it.
I think it would be a good idea to show things up on the screen, so I'll take
Yeah.
some pictures and
For
get
sure.
it up on the
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah.
So,
So we literally waited
Feels
that
kind
one.
of cool, actually. Like, you know, it's just it seems like
these are our documents. There's a lot of stuff that we have to show
yeah, 'cause
for
we've
our
done
work. Yeah.
like we've not shown a thing about what we've done.
Right.
And so it's like we have a lot to show. I really
Yeah.
I think this might have to be multiple episodes just because how long it's going.
This is long.
Podcasts are long.
That's fair.
We're
But-
in a long conversation. I see. We have a timeline. I'd say we kind of. What?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, we kind of want to get to a point, I suppose, where we're just like moving on to the next subject, but we're breaking down a fundamental part.
And again, that trickle down content that
Yeah.
I always talk about is like we can take this and edit it down
Right.
into so many 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute videos.
Truth.
Like it's
We can add context to it later too if you need to edit
Yeah.
some more
Yeah,
information. in
yeah,
or something.
exactly.
Yeah, I
and we
agree.
can like at some point we could even start stitching together bits and clips from our podcasts that are related. So we
Yeah.
have an entire compilation of one topic across time of us talking
that'd
about
We
it,
have a
you know?
tone. We have a tone when we ideate. There's a tone coming out of your voice and your voice
Yeah.
when we ideate.
We're really excited. There's also a pace, and there's
Yeah.
also a volume. Look at it. Okay,
See how, like, it changed.
look how it started
Conversational.
quiet. The waveform starts quiet. I gotta put this up on screen.
Yeah.
But the waveform starts quiet, and it starts building, and then we're all just excited, like talking here, you know. And then it's so funny. You can see our excitement
It's
in the
pretty cool.
waveform.
It's fun. I like it.
When we broke down into action items and products, and then we realized
Keeping us
that
on track.
Engineers, dude. Nelson, and my friend Nelson, who's an LDP, did the
And
same
here we
thing.
go, going off track again.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
it's so hard for me to not do that. It's just like
Yeah.
such an inherent part of it.
No, it's
but
great. It's great. It's so helpful.
I remember like us setting goals, right? Like, because I think we said,
Yeah.
okay, these are our products, this is our vision, these are our values. Let's start doing stuff, right? So I think I
Smart
remember
goals.
you specifically saying, yeah, we need to be doing stuff. We can't just be talking about stuff. Doing stuff are always.
Jacob felt that. I remember, I did say
It's I just got
but
back
you
from my
felt
bike
it,
trip,
man.
and I wanted to leave on my bike. I wanted to leave on my bike so bad, and then I did. And then I did, actually.
You did?
During
Yeah,
that
that's
time,
right.
I actually left to Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
I was like, I know everything's going on, but I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, that's right. And we were like, Jacob, no. We're working together. Like,
Right.
we're meeting. And then you go, and it's like,
I was just like, we're gonna have to adapt, guys. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know.
So usually these big engine, big trains, right? When the main engine's gone, they have an auxiliary engine to run the engine. So it's like, well, the main engine's gone. Let's get up on the
switch to the auxiliary.
Yep.
So we had to
this thing going.
I remember
So
like talking
luckily-
to John about it too. Like I think we were like we should probably just try to meet pretty regularly and call Jacob.
Yeah, that's what we were
Meet.
planning on doing. Really, was
Virtually
like
meet.
just virtual meetings, and it may have
And
worked
you
out in
were
a
going to
way.
be filming videos, which
Yep.
you did.
And
I was
then
gonna
send
film
and
those.
edit and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was
which
gonna
is
be a
probably
great
still going to
thing.
happen moving
Yeah,
forward.
yeah, oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That's we kind of start. It was a pilot. We didn't even realize it, and
Yeah.
so it's like we
This is all a pilot.
yeah. So everything we're doing is startup mode. It's
Continuously.
so completely that way, and so like I ride my bike to Lake Michigan, and it was like 9 days, and I got injured. I wasn't ready to ride my bike in such arduous conditions. My knee wasn't fully supported by my muscles in my leg. I went to the orthopedic doctor recently, finally, and so yeah, I'm building up my muscles and all my body parts to become a serious bicycle nomad. I'm like now training to be a hardcore bicycle nomad, which is exciting because that means it's more legit.
Yeah,
so
you can stay out there.
Yeah,
keep
and
going.
I'll be like literally going, just doing that. No, I'll be like, yeah. So I took the I took the advice of people just to stop. I took the advice of myself. My body was just like, hey, you just stop. And so I came home, and so I was like, you know what? I don't know how long this is gonna be. I could be here. It's gonna be hard to ride a bike in the winter. So I was just like, I don't have the money for it. John said, yo, guys, I'm here now. So what happens then?
Well, then we're like,
okay, back
let's
at it.
keep working.
Yeah.
Yeah, back at it. Cool. We've got 5 months.
I remember your realization.
We were like, we
the
have
winter,
5 months. The
Yeah.
winter. Let's do this. Like, let's get working on this stuff.
Right.
Yeah, and that was before we developed these SMART goals. Even that was before. Like that was
right before we developed the SMART goals. I
yeah.
remember we were like, let's get shit doing.
Yep.
Done. And then we sat down. We established SMART goals. Basically, one for each product, and then a stretch goal if you can hit all these 3.
And so a SMART goal.
Yeah,
is,
what's SMART stand for? It's like something measurable.
Here we go again.
Something time bound.
Okay. Everything is gone.
It's M is measurable, A is achievable,
Yeah.
T is timely. I don't know
Time
what
bound.
S. Time
S
bound.
and R.
S stands for smart.
M stands for Mart.
And A stands for art.
R stands for repeatable. I think R's... No, I don't think it is.
No. Oh wow. I'm gonna Google it.
It's
But
all good.
Keep
We'll
on
do-
talking,
we'll-
guys.
yeah.
But basically, we established what our SMART goals... I mean, so we know what SMART goals are, though. I at least knew the concept of it. Basically,
Yeah.
sure it had a quantitative measure to it.
Specific,
Measurable,
measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. That's right. And I mean,
Which is great because
Yeah.
when you said smart, Sub was like, we have to do SMART goals, and I was like, okay, I'm sweet, like let's
took
go.
me back
and
to
then,
project management.
Yeah,
Honestly.
Yeah.
immediately.
yeah, and then I was just like, okay, well,
It works.
let's sit down and do it. And so we had a projector up on this wall here,
Right here, yeah.
and we just were like, Sudd was asking us questions as to what we wanted to do, and we started breaking it down, like helping Sudd understand what we were doing at the same time while building the idea, and
All of us.
And we literally just, I was like, Sudd was like, hey, John wanted me to make money first of all, and
Yeah, that's right.
and like you guys were like supportive in that, and knowing that like, hey, I'm trying to make money with SYLVICS right now.
Yeah, and it was a thing like if you can make money enough with SYLVICS so that I can make a little bit of money with this work, like, oh man, that would be amazing.
That was a dream. That was a dream.
Then I could
remember
start
calling you and saying that.
committing. Yeah, I could start committing more time.
Yep.
That's incredible. I'm still hoping for that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And we're working towards it, of course.
That's why we have the SMART goals.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the first goal was like business plan, because I said, what's the most important thing we need to do? Sudd said, what's the most important thing we need to do? I was like, business plan. So he was like, yep. And we connected that because we need a business plan to get grants. We need a business plan
For legal purposes.
purposes. We need a business plan to function. Mm-hmm. So we were actually running a business on top of shooting for the dreams. Like it's a business management part. So
Yeah.
Anyway, and then we to have a nursery sale in the spring.
That's what's going to enable us make the money that we need.
Selling trees.
At least initially.
Sub was like, yo, you've made money selling trees, so let's sell trees. I was like,
And what is an attainable amount? What is, fitting it into that
so we kind of I
structure.
shared generally what that it's doable and we can make it happen, and so then
I think with the end we shot like 150% of what you made last year, like as a goal.
yeah, that was the goal.
Let's push it a little bit.
Yep. So we were trying to shoot for like $3,000 this coming spring, and who knows, we could make more than that because of me planting trees.
If there is someone watching this podcast right now, like what, an hour and 19 minutes in, that's amazing, and just that amount of interest probably like guarantees to me like, wow, we can make some money with this.
Yeah.
And we can enable this to happen, like so much of the other stuff that we're working towards to happen. Like that's the big thing. So
we've had so many arcs in this story that we're telling already. It's a great story. We've been telling a nice story. I love this.
It is. That's why we want to make that documentary.
Yeah. So like we have the goal for the nursery to make some money. We have the business plan. And we wanted to do 11 videos and 11 podcasts. This is the first podcast of the series of 11 podcasts.
Yeah.
And
well, you made that one.
Oh yeah, so this is the second podcast in the series of 11 podcasts.
Yeah.
So achieved. This is the first collaborative one I've ever done.
Yeah. I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, this is fun. So
I'm having a good time.
Yeah. And then the other one is to have a workshop during that spring nursery sale time to it's teaching about the forests and trees of Peoria.
A workshop being one of our products.
Yeah.
Right.
So that I can host workshops on my bike ride, and then you guys can host workshops, et cetera, down the long run when things work out. Basically, we're just trying to have a workshop that can be modeled and scaled out eventually. And we're trying to create minimum viable products because we chose, we're not going to have like a big, long, lengthy business plan. We're working on a lean business plan right now because everything we're doing is in startup mode. Nothing is concrete. We can't project like, I'm going to make this much money from the workshop. Like, we have no idea. So we want to figure that out. We want to test in the field. So that's what we're going to do.
Yep. Yeah. And even coming to that, it's like we've gone through a lot. I think I keep coming back to when we were at Barnes & Noble. That meeting really helped us to just figure out we laid out what are our products, you know?
Yeah, right. And so I think before that, the reason we even got to that was because of a conflict.
Yeah.
Or perceived conflict, which is still a conflict.
Yeah.
Exactly. amongst us, where there was this misunderstanding of what our product's intentions were and how much time and money and effort we have to dedicate into each one of our products. Right?
Yeah, because I had this whole thing. I was just like, SYLVICS' videos.
Oh,
I remember that video.
We had yeah. So we go through our SMART goals. We have all these like 5. We have 3 SMART goals and 2 stretch goals.
Yeah. 4 SMART goals.
4 SMART goals and 1 stretch goal.
Yeah. And
2 stretch goals. Right. Yeah.
We're like, awesome. We have goals. We're working towards them. Nursery sale, business plan, all this stuff, right? And then that following week, Sudd and I get a text in our group chat of a video that Jacob posted unlisted saying, guys, I just had a realization. SYLVICS is videos.
Yeah, like the night prior, I just like realized that videos were so important, and I just like burst into tears. Yes. And I was like, yes, this is like amazing. So I was like, I'm going to film this. And so...
Yeah. And you're just like... basically repeating yourself throughout that video, like SYLVICS is videos.
It's you videos. See how the nursery sales a video.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what you were repeating. The nursery sale is a video. The
exactly how I said it.
Workshops is a video.
Yeah.
SYLVICS is a video. You know, and like it became this thing where you were repeating it, where like is a video became just a nonsense word of its own. Is a video. It was like one word. But you were trying to express that, oh my gosh, producing media around this stuff is so important. Gaining awareness, like spreading awareness, getting stuff out there, allowing these different products that are truly useful and educational for people. Like allowing that to spread further. Like we have in-person stuff and we are working on the business. We can record that and share it with people, and people could actually learn. because they're seeing us go through this process of teaching and learning.
Yep.
Right? And so that was your realization, and it was huge. Sudd and I weren't right there with you yet.
So I said it, and I was like, guys, this is it, and then I just but Sudd was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
Like, and John's like,
well,
well,
I like kind of understood what you meant because we kind of had talked about it before. Of course, you came to me about videos, right? But it was, I think the perception that you had was everything is based around videos. The ultimate priority is videos. And not the result of the videos. Right. Not the result of people learning and being inspired.
Essentially, what I understood was the reason why SYLVICS exists was because of videos.
Yeah.
Not because of actions,
Growing trees.
So exactly.
Growing trees to meet
there was a
life's
shift in
needs
perspective.
Yeah, you thought I was changing the vision. Like, I was taking it to, like, no, we're just video makers. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's
I freaked out.
A little bit of how we took it. And, we were like, oh, wait, what?
Because the way I saw it was like if we are making, like, because foresters are always going to practice forestry how they do it, but if we use videos as a platform to make videos as foresters or as people who grow trees, then we could grow trees in ways that have never been seen before. So I was trying to say that.
You were trying to articulate that.
Yeah.
Remembering it, I think I was like, okay, I know Jacob is so deeply grounded in action, in doing this stuff, in inspiring people, in our mission, everything, our vision, everything that we've said so far. So I trusted that you weren't saying what we thought you were saying.
Yeah.
But I know you were concerned, and I was a little concerned.
I still wanted the clarity.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, because I was also concerned that I misunderstood your original why. And I had been leading you down the wrong path the entire freaking time.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm like, what have I done? Was like one of my thoughts. I'm like, did I mess up? Like, I remember being at after work, like looking at this video, and I'm like, whoa,
I missed
what have I done?
Yeah.
Like,
that's so funny because we came together. Perspectives. I remember we came together for our meeting that week after the video. Is a video.
The
video. And the whole thing, our whole agenda for that day was alignment. You had called me. You felt like Sudd wasn't aligned. You were afraid. I know, and when you came, I was like, oh, you can tell that he's afraid that there's no, we're not really aligning and stuff like that. And so
I felt tension between Sudd and I.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like there's just I was like, there's something misunderstanding here. Like, we have something going on here.
Yeah,
and it was like enough that it was popping into my head enough, and I was like, because
I
it's
got to
important
deal
to
with
me.
this.
I was like, I gotta deal with this.
Yeah, and we it kind of actually that specific meeting kind of started out like any other meeting. We had the presentation, we had the projector up and we were trying to write through some stuff, maybe our SMART goals.
We actually did do some activities first, just kind of getting ready because we hadn't seen each other in a little while.
Exactly. We were getting into the flow of things. And then Sudd, I think this is the meeting, you recommended that we all sit in a circle and speak through this and try to figure out what we're all thinking and feeling about this.
Yep. That was a meeting.
Yeah. And that was a crazy experience.
It was. It took us through a wild ride.
Yeah.
No doubt.
That night, that really also deepened, I think, my foundation in my friendship with you. I was like, man, he's all about this. And when you talked about you were afraid of going away from the mission and leading us astray in a way,
that was so affirming.
It was like, damn, he's so selflessly trying to involve himself in this. I mean, in a sense,
Yeah, right.
like you thought you aligned with the vision, of course, and if the vision was
Right.
different, you may not have aligned and put in the effort.
Right.
But you also were really concerned with the fact that whether you're aligned or not, you led us away from what we were aligned.
Exactly.
on.
That was
Yeah.
definitely like it's in like going back to the train analogy. I thought that I had laid the tracks completely
And
wrong
the
from the
train is
beginning.
going west. And
Like
you're
it's
trying
gonna
to
go
east.
down
Yeah.
like some other way
Yeah.
than what was originally intended. I just misunderstood it. Like that
Yeah.
was like the thought.
Yeah, and then I see like we talked out our feelings. We were just clear as day as to what was going on.
Yeah.
And I got to a point where we were just like, all right, is there any other deep things that you want to express? And we were just like, no, I think I shared everything.
I think it was like
We all like really, yeah. It was like a legit heart to heart.
It was.
It was great, and it was. I've never experienced that where it was a heart to heart about the business.
Yeah, you called
You
it
know
a
what I
break-
mean?
You called it a breakthrough.
We did have.
it was
yeah.
a freaking breakthrough. It was a
broke
breakthrough,
through,
dude.
Yeah.
Have you guys used power chargers for your phone?
Yeah.
What do you mean, like
Like
a
a power
battery?
fast charger?
Charges it fast.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Like a fast charger, if you're not plugging in correctly, it'll still charge your phone.
Mhm.
But it just won't fast charge.
Mhm.
I felt like we were just charging until then. We went apart and came back together in a way that like
Yeah,
we fucking
were.
bolted
Yeah,
together.
no,
yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
And
We were
that's
like
when
power charging the heck out of it. After
Yeah.
that.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I let my feelings guide myself during that time because I was just like, I needed to take a break for a second because I was just like stepping back because I was like, feel like I'm getting in decision making territory and I don't want to make a decision when I'm feeling
Yeah.
unbalanced.
Yeah.
And so like, I was like, yeah. So I saw John, without necessarily
I think that was your
expecting
birthday
to.
week.
Oh
It
yeah.
was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I came over because I had to get my lights out of here. I had all my lighting equipment here because we were going to shoot a part of that video and
Yeah,
ended
so this is
up
a
not
month
being
ago.
able to. Yeah,
Really, a
this
month
was
ago?
not long ago at all.
We've done so
And
much shit since then.
I know,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Whoa,
like
cool,
we
yeah.
hit this major plateau and then just like finally got over it, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was getting that stuff, and we ended up just talking like heart to heart about this stuff before we had met. Like you were concerned about, what you had thought, or like you not really agreeing with it being videos.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the entire thing being videos. Of course,
I was
we
like-
didn't know that that's what you thought.
Yeah.
I
I really
Yeah.
just didn't understand Sudd's perspective, honestly. Like, I came to realize after you shared everything, I was like, whoa, like, okay, Sudd's, like, now I understand why Sudd's here and what he's doing. Like, that was what changed when we shared, because...
I think that was the same meeting we clarified our roles.
Yeah, that was
in SYLVICS.
exactly, yeah, we clarified our roles as we were pushing along the idea of SYLVICS, building it.
And I think so. This is important. That was a breakthrough moment, like you said, right? Because there's this author called Patrick Lencioni. I think I've talked about the 5 dysfunctions of a team. He wrote that book. He says that usually teams fail because the foundation of trust is never laid correctly.
Yeah, we
and I
talked
think
about
we
that.
built that trust.
Yes.
Yeah, that was important, bro. That was
Exactly.
cool.
So
We built trust. It's so cool that we had that shared experience through the business. Like I was saying, I had never had that. Like, I've built trust. I've had those experiences where you have a breakthrough, but it's like emotional and it's personal and stuff like
This
that.
is morale
But we
and
had
camaraderie.
this. Yeah, exactly. Like, it was really cool.
Yeah, this
Really
is
I love
this
this
is like a
thing to
real
experience.
experience of morale, like team morale.
yeah,
That was like...
Oh yeah.
Because I played games where you had to, like, manage the morale of the teams or the units that I was playing with or something, but, like, we were really managing our morale there.
when it happens to us personally, it's like in a whole nother level of like
Yeah.
realization that you come
Because
together.
we want to make these big leaps and bounds, so, like, the energy is, like, right up against whatever wall is in front of us.
Mhm.
So, like, when we release that wall, it's like, BAM!
Yeah, dude,
You
it's
know
like
what I mean?
Berlin
Shoots
Wall.
out, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the Berlin Wall.
Oh shit.
It is, right? It was like
You're
we're the
down
wall,
that
and then
wall.
boom, families are united, energies are united.
Yeah, for real.
I went and toured that.
And then, so yeah, so after that, I think we were like, we started working on shit. I remember like then we got together. We were like, okay, so we did the market research for Nursery, and we knew exactly what we were
We
going to
have
do for the Nursery.
basic market research, laid it all out. Basic as in, like, fundamental.
Fundamental level. Yep.
Fundamental of the of the market research. So now we know like generally who we're going for
Yeah.
to sell to and talk to and make content for, and everybody in Peoria that we want to be mindful of, and all this stuff
like that. And I think we did cuttings for it, and then you start planning, like you start writing, okay, this is when we need to plant, this is when we expect it to germinate, and this is when it'll be ready.
So this is like 2 weeks ago, right?
Like these yeah, he did the plan like a week or week and a half before that. I think you came up with the plan for the nursery sales maybe a week and a half before we did the cuttings, I think, or 2 weeks before the cuttings probably.
Oh yeah, man! I actually wrote down in this pad that's in here. It's the nursery.
Oh,
pad.
I do remember that. Yeah.
The nursery pad. It's a green one. One of the green ones. It's not that art one. It's the one below it. If there's one below it, there's the other green one.
The other green.
There it is.
Oh.
Is that you, Jacob?
Yeah, D-Daffic. So. Okay.
Oh, yeah, there it is. What is that?
Sudd and Jacob Cultivation Lab. This is when we did it. Oh, it was actually while we were cutting the elderberries because it was a cold day. And I was with Sudd, and I was like, man.
I wasn't planning on coming over that day.
You weren't. You didn't come over. And so we actually had.
This was a separate day.
Yeah, well, we actually took the cuttings that day, and then you came over that next day when we had to work on the cuttings.
Yeah, I see, okay.
So, yeah, this is where I was like.
This is probably a Tuesday.
Yeah, I just started breaking down like all the plants that we are growing, and then also plants that we want and desired plants, stuff we can get from the Mason State Nursery, and then kind of just like how much money and how many plants we would need to grow for different schemes, I suppose. You know what I mean? So I broke it down, like if we have 500 plants, we just sell them at $6 a piece.
I haven't seen this actually.
So
cool.
If we wanted to sell 100, 150, if we wanted to, so I broke it down just to how many plants you need for the amount of money you want to make.
Right.
Yeah.
Theoretically, sweet.
And so, yeah, we made the cutting, so we made that progress towards the nursery. And then I remember thinking, like, I think we all three of us were, like one of our meetings, we were talking about, I don't know what we were talking about. We were talking about something, it was before Christmas where we couldn't meet as often or something like that. And then I remember clearly talking, oh yeah, it was before Thanksgiving. I remember that. Or during Thanksgiving break. We were like, we need to make progress on the videos, guys, because we need to...
Sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah.
What happened?
It's just
paper.
We're good.
I remember thinking...
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you repeat what you said?
Yeah, I remember before Thanksgiving or around Thanksgiving, we were talking about, hey, we need to make progress towards the videos because that's one thing we haven't chipped away at. We have some plan towards the nursery, at least, but we have no plan towards our videos. And then us talking, and then we revisited our SMART goals. If you remember, we were like, okay, we have our SMART goals. Let's reapproach this. What part of it is actually achievable? Because we were questioning if it was achievable or not. And then I remember removing the workshop goal and saying, instead, we're going to plan a route for Jacob for his trip and see if we can instead find a way for him to connect with universities along the way or something like that.
That was,
we redid our SMART goal. And then after that, we still weren't set. And we were like, okay, we need to figure out how much time we need to dedicate towards each of our goals because it's clearly not equal. And that's when we went to the Barnes & Noble and had that breakthrough.
Yeah, dude. With our meetings, we were figuring things out. We weren't really getting around to doing
stuff. Yep.
And you guys started doing with cutting everything, and then we ended up planting them. I guess that would be considered planting,
we stuck
right?
them.
We stuck
the cuttings.
Yeah, put them in the soil.
Yeah.
And it was just like, well, we're not making videos. So, then we had that meeting to kind of reorganize in a way.
Yeah. We were
or prioritize.
Let's touch base. Yeah. We were like, let's prioritize how we're going to do this. And then the numbers said it. We need to, according to our vision, the one that achieves most part of our vision was the E-Suite. Because it covers 90% or can relate, not 90%, whatever amount of percent it was. Mm-hmm. I think it was 37% towards our vision.
That's why we're sitting here right now doing this podcast because we need to do this. So it is clear.
Yeah, it was. I think 37% of our vision was covered by our E-Suite, right? I think we have the numbers right here. 37% was the e-suite, and then 30% was the nursery, and 33% was the workshops. That's how
very close.
Very close. So the 1% makes a difference, in ownership of a business too. Like with 51, 49, if someone has 51, they have the majority if they have choice. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. It's interesting. Yeah.
And we rated each one of our products based on direct Earth impact, indirect Earth impact, because those are things we value. Impact is something we value, and what are we doing the value for the Earth, right? So direct and indirect impact on Earth, visionary/missionary impact, and how hard is it to accomplish? Like, what is in our circle of influence? Which higher the number, the greater negative score you have towards your overall rating.
Yeah.
So we basically did that, and then that basically gave us the answer that we need to be focusing 37% of the time we spend on our e-suite, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. So we're proportionately swinging our efforts towards the e-suite, and of course we need to work towards the workshops and creating a model for that too in the upcoming days, because that's the one goal we haven't even approached yet.
Yeah, definitely.
And Nursery, we've been making strides.
One thing is saying right now, in the spring, we are going to have a nursery sale to help fund everything we're doing.
Yeah.
And your bike trip, everything around that, all of these nursery sales, we're trying to fund the entire effort.
I'd like to get work during that time period. Like we can do nursery sales, and like that time period could be a chance for me to use my chainsaw and cut trees, or to go and help people remove a tree or something like that. There's a variety of opportunity that comes in the spring. I feel like we're just like, this is when we launch. Spring is launch pad. Or spring is actually launch. We're in launch pad mode right now. We're building launch pad.
Land the tracks.
Yep. We're launching SYLVICS in spring. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, and to really show our decisions is today is Wednesday. Wednesday we usually meet, do our meetings, and talk about strategy and fill these things out, draw these things out and figure it out. And instead, we're here right now having a podcast.
Yeah.
Because 37%, it is our priority. The E-Suite. And of course, we can explain what the E-Suite is, but
I don't think anything about this was qualitative. Everything was quantitative. We made the numbers give us the answer on what we need to focus based on our vision that we came up, which was qualitative, but still.
Yeah, so we derived quantitative measurements from qualitative.
Right, I meant this process. Nothing about this process was qualitative, I should say.
Yeah, we were really focusing on the quantitative measurements of these things so that we could have a legitimate grounding in our prioritization.
Right, rather than saying,
oh, we feel this way or whatever.
Yeah, I just want to make videos because I like videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when we started this, when we started doing this, and we had these measurements, Jacob and I were kind of hesitant to give things certain ratings because we were like, oh no, how is that going to stack up? We don't want to be locked in this, giving a higher percentage of prioritization towards something other than E-Suite, because we were like, videos, everything is a video. I'm sorry.
No, it's a meme now.
Yeah. And we were a little concerned about that. But I remember, at least for me, I reached a point where I was like, I have to let go of that. We have to look at these qualitative measurements and attach a quantitative measurement to them, saying, how is this truly rated in its, I almost said independent, indirect Earth's impact, its direct Earth impact. How does it align with our vision and everything like that? If we just trusted that process, we would likely come to the decision that we had come to naturally before this, which was E-Suite. Very important. And we just had to kind of let go and be like, okay, we're going to measure these things how they are. And we did that. And I think that's why you're saying we did it quantitatively.
Yeah.
We detached our feelings from it. The feelings, it's my personal opinion that feelings are effectively like a way to really help us to understand situations faster than anything else. It's faster than cognition. You have a feeling, and then you think about it.
It's a bridge to understand how we meet our needs.
Yeah, exactly. And so emotions really tell us a lot about the situation, and they're very often incredibly accurate. So we really wanted to stick with our emotions, but we let go of them, and then explicitly or intellectually came to the same decision that we were emotionally making, interestingly.
Yeah. And we all agreed that certain things has higher impact towards our goals, overall vision of whatever, And I think that was the most important part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's huge. It's awesome. So from here, we are kind of now to present day. Pretty much.
Yeah, we've been working towards stuff.
We have been working towards stuff. There's been meetings in between. A lot of stuff in between.
Now it's like go mode.
Yeah, we're kind of in go mode. And so what are we doing now? What are we working towards? Of course, we have the SYLVICS E-Suite, the nursery sale, and the workshops. Should we kind of go into those, explain like kind of what we're doing until the spring?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
May as well get.
I think it's so as Jacob was saying.
I need to use the restroom, by the way.
Yeah, we can pause.
Is that feasible, or should we just let it play through and I go?
You think the audio is going to change?
We can just keep recording.
Okay, let's go. I'll just do that thing.
You want to just talk about it?
Anyways, is that Jake?
Please, yeah, no worries. It's all good.
So yeah, I think. Let me close the door.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think, as Jacob was saying, this is going to be our winter launch pad, right? Like, so we're going to prepare and gear up everything to make that money.
To make
for
money,
SYLVICS
to enable
money, at least, yeah.
Jacob to continue to have involvement in the business and these 3 products effectively,
right,
when he's on his bike,
right.
Yeah.
So it's basically getting anything and everything ready for that. So I think it feels like we still don't have like a lot of clarity on what our workshops are going to look like, and that is something we need to talk through.
Yes.
That is effort we are putting towards workshop, like designing it, right? That is super critical.
Huge.
And we rated this stuff, right? We rated that this is the impact that it has on Earth directly and indirectly. We also talked about how we can possibly improve that rating for certain of our products, right?
Yeah, exactly. That was that was really cool.
And that is like wrapping up towards the end of the year after we're done with our goals. That is something we need to get back to and say, so, okay, we have achieved all our goals, or we have not achieved these goals. How can we improve these ratings, and so on and so forth?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's effectively like, this is actually something that we were talking about, and we haven't done this, and I would like to do this, and that's effectively taking these scores and like say dividing them by 3 or something along the lines of adding them vertically and making sure that we have a base score across all of these different things that we're trying to achieve. So we have these measurements of direct Earth's impacts, indirect Earth's impacts, visionary and missionary impact, and how hard it is.
What's the highest possible score you can get?
Yeah, well, and we add them all up, and we try to make sure that each of them are at a certain number, right? What I'm saying is effectively all of these different products need to fill in each other's gaps across categories, right?
Yeah.
In addition to that, like you're saying, we need to improve each one in its individual measurements.
Right. So basically 29 is the highest score you can get for each one of these, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying 17 out of 29, how can we push it to like
we did
25?
Add them. Yeah, exactly.
29, yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay.
We're leveling it up.
Yeah. But I think we're getting close to a point of wrapping this up.
Okay.
I'd say. I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to. I think
there's more.
I think that we've at least we've told the story. So it started off with Jacob starting it. Now we've told the story of us
getting together
and our hominess, and how we are collecting how we're gathering our time and our energy to like collaborate on this idea and to make it into something that's a functional thing. It's a seed, it's a startup, and we're launching it together and seeing what happens. And we're learning from it. It's like a really choice things to learn, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're practicing reforestation. We're practicing community forestry, and we're practicing entrepreneurship too, like in a lot of ways, just learning how business works and stuff. So
yeah.
And we're going to do everything in our effort to set us up for success. We are even going to plan to fail.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, actually, that's a huge part.
It's important.
The next page in here, I mean, we don't have to go into it in depth, but we are doing failure planning per Sudd's judgment. And that's huge. Like, we need to make sure we know what to do when we inevitably fail, because things just don't go as well as you may project, or, you know, it might be more difficult than you think, or whatever.
Yeah.
And we want to continue to put effort and time into this.
Oh, and I want to wrap it up talking about Peoria.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Let's just like
Well, first off, Peoria is where we all met.
Yeah.
That's true.
We met in
It's
Peoria,
where you
Illinois.
and I grew up.
Yeah, I
It's where
grew up
you've
in
been
Peoria
for
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah. So Sudd's had experience. He's lived here in Peoria enough and he knows a lot about Peoria. Like I say niche things about Peoria, and Sudd knows about it. So like Sudd's a Peoria person right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're in Peoria doing forestry, practicing reforestation, inspiring and empowering people to steward Peoria's forest.
Yes, and that's huge. Like, community and this being place-based is massive. It's huge to us. And one thing about that is, we were talking recently, and we were talking about how you can give a man a fish, or you can catch a man a fish.
Oh, you can teach him. You can feed a man a fish.
You can feed a man a fish, or you can teach him to fish.
You could feed.
What is the saying?
This is like a George
Give him
Bush.
a fish or teach him to
This
fish.
is a George Bush saying. If you give a man,
You can't get fooled again.
if you
Oh my god.
if you feed a man a fish, you'll feed him for a day. If you teach a man to fish, you'll feed him for a lifetime.
Yes. And that is the whole point of SYLVICS' system of reforestation and the workshops. It's
not just give them fishes.
Yes, we're not giving fish. We're not planting trees.
Sounds fishy.
We are growing trees.
You're growing
to meet life's needs, but also we are not the only ones growing them. We're helping communities to connect each other with all the resources that they already have for these kinds of efforts, and connecting them with the knowledge that allows them to continue to reforest and effectively just like have a closer knit community around this stuff.
Grow the forest.
Yes, and grow the forest, and we want to do that community by community, helping people to come together.
A self-sustaining community.
Exactly.
That keeps reforesting Peoria.
It's like regenerative community
Peoria
development,
reforesting
something
itself.
like that.
Yeah, because since
Yes.
we are so place-based, we should be able to detach ourselves from Peoria at some point.
That's the whole point.
And
yeah.
Peoria should still be doing.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
We need like
That's what I'm
more
saying.
people in
When-
Peoria
to
that can
make it
handle
Yes.
to maintain it, because like
That's
we
what
need
I'm
these
saying.
key gatekeepers, stakeholders, I suppose, that
Not gatekeepers.
not gatekeepers. We want
The
stakeholders
opposite.
that are enablers.
Yeah.
We want these enablers that are long term.
Community
Exactly.
leaders, yeah.
Exactly. We're trying to connect
Community
the
satellite foresters.
the
Community
individuals.
satellite foresters.
Yeah. We're trying to connect the individuals. Well, those aren't satellite foresters. The satellite foresters are
I guess that's
spreading the gospel. You know what I mean? But like
missionaries.
yeah, you're
Have you heard about SYLVICS?
yeah. Oh my god. But like effectively we're trying to connect the individuals within communities to this knowledge, and to each other through this knowledge and for these reasons, and to the people who can make this stuff happen and who can collaborate with the individuals willing to make this happen. We're trying to help communities develop in this direction, basically. Yeah.
That's inspiring and empowering. It makes me want to steward Earth's forests.
In a holistic way.
And grow trees adaptively.
Yeah. Why don't you as well say the vision? Oh, wait.
Yeah, Peoria is where I identified my first tree. Peoria is a place of firsts for me. Took my first breath here. Took my first everything here. Literally. And so I am this is a symbolic journey for me. This is like a spiritual journey in a way.
Yeah.
As well as a practical journey.
Yeah.
It's like
there's
combining,
no difference.
Yeah,
there's no difference.
It's combining all of my interests and just doing what I was going to do anyway here where I'm at. Yeah. Like I was going to do reforestation and forestry wherever I go, and I could have done it with, I could have been with other foresters who are rocking it and like really managing like millions of acres, and I could have been doing that like right out of school. But I came home to be here in Peoria, to reforest my hometown, to take care of my family, to take care of my people, and show that I value place so much, because as I model and start to help people grow their own forests in other areas of the world, they'll see like he understands what I mean by my place because I started here. Like like that's something that's really important.
Yeah, context. Each person has their own context of their life, where they live, how they live, everything about them and their experiences so far. And we're trying to accommodate for that or take that into account.
We want to raise awareness to the whole spectrum of values that people in Peoria have about the forest. We want to make that clear as day.
Yeah.
As much as we can.
Yeah. And it all comes down to the individuals. Like we were talking about how like community is effectively like, what was it that I said? Like the collection of shared experiences between individuals is what we call across culture. Time is what we call culture or community. Yeah. And so it all comes down to each individual, each of us, of course, but everyone that we're trying to speak to and work with, and every individual that we will move on from as we go to other cities or whatever. And it comes down to them continuing that effort. It comes down to them finding a place for really, in a lot of ways, in a full closed loop, full circle kind of way themselves.
We want to inspire individuals to find their own lens into nature, like pinpoint it, show like, yes, this is my lens into nature, and this is how I see the world. These are my values, and I want you to tell me that. I don't want to tell you what your values are. I want you to tell SYLVICS what the values you have about nature is, so that we can integrate them into how land is effectively designed.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I think this really sets us up for the next podcast maybe being explaining why have we made these decisions? Why trees? Why, you know what I mean?
We actually have a list
why
of
forestation?
Values and stuff like that. We gotta, all this is really important. We can break that down. Let's
I'd like to do that either next podcast or another one soon.
Yeah.
Really explain this is why we've come to these decisions. This is why it's important to do this.
Yeah. We're talking a lot on the podcast, especially. We're breaking down philosophies. We're breaking down perspectives. This is what we're doing. It's a social thing. The podcast, it feels very philosophical, very sociological. That's where it's going.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right,
absolutely.
Guys. You think that's it?
Yeah, that was cool.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you guys. Yeah, you guys are great. I like you.
I like you.
Oh no, we're cutting this out.
Please. Okay.
Handshake and I like you. What a great combo.
Okay. So long.
I just like to say that.